of earning a salary isn't an option to me. To stay on and say I will face those charges and weather the storm and show them up for what they are, for the sake of what? 6 months maybe of turmoil, because the plot is very clear. They have to rid the DA of any of us who dare to speak up about the truth, that all South Africans' lives matter, that the prosperity of all South Africans matters, the lifting up out of poverty of all our people matters, the livelihoods of all our people matters. And though I am beholden to the DA for the opportunity it afforded me in contributing to building a better South Africa, the current Democratic Alliance isn't the same one I joined 22 years ago. I can no longer drive my aim for a better South Africa in this environment, and I am aware of many more DA members who feel the very same way as I do. So, fellow South Africans, today I announce that I am resigning as a member of the Democratic Alliance.
All right, so let's get more analysis on the resignation of Gauteng DA leader John Moodey. We are now joined by political analyst Levy Ndou. He's with the Tshwane University of Technology, and he joins me now live via Zoom. And Ndou, thank you so much for joining us here on the SABC News channel.
Good afternoon, Palisa and Ndou.
All right, so firstly, this is someone who had been with the DA for over 22 years and has been serving as the provincial leader of Gauteng since 2012. Is this a great loss for the Democratic Alliance?
Palisa, this is a great loss for the Democratic Alliance. The departure of Moodey from the Democratic Alliance is actually following on the footsteps of a number of other leaders that have been in the Democratic Alliance. And ever since we saw the return of Helen Zille in the Democratic Alliance, the Democratic Alliance seemed to be losing a lot of its members. And if we look at the role that Moodey played in the Democratic Alliance, and we also look at the manner in which he was being loved by the people of Gauteng, especially the DA members, and some greater constituencies in the Democratic Alliance, this indeed becomes a very, very big loss for the Democratic Alliance. And I'm quite aware that it's actually going to be very difficult to have someone to replace him in the Democratic Alliance, especially in Gauteng.
And we do know, of course, Levy, that he was facing charges for publicly defending the former DA leader, Mmusi Maimane. So he says during the media briefing that he believes that if he had stayed any longer, he'd only face more unwarranted charges. And we also know that he had raised his hand for the leadership position of the party. Should we read more from his decision?
Moodey has made a very short statement, but which is very, very heavy. He speaks about spending a reasonable amount of time in the Democratic Alliance, but he also speaks more about the pain that is actually suffered whilst he is in the Democratic Alliance. And if you look at what other members have said, when Mashaba resigned, he spoke about not being comfortable in the Democratic Alliance. When Mmusi Maimane resigned, he spoke about not being comfortable in the Democratic Alliance. And Moodey amplifies his statement by saying, the pain that he has suffered is the pain that is being suffered by a lot of other members within the Democratic Alliance. And indeed, I will agree with you that there is more within the Democratic Alliance that has to be fixed, that is actually chasing a lot of these great leaders to leave the organization. And I think if indeed there are serious problems, a lot of other members might still leave the Democratic Alliance, or the DA should quickly rush and solve the problems that are actually existing within the party.
I was about to ask you that as to whether the DA should be worried going forward, because part of what he said, as I quote, he says, "I cannot be complacent and be part of a party that wants to be part of the next apartheid regime." This statement speaks and talks volumes about the Democratic Alliance, doesn't it?
When Mashaba resigned from the DA, he spoke about some white tendencies that are developing within the DA. And we're also getting the same sentiments coming from Moodey. And that tells you that there is something within the DA that talks about its character. Or there are certain individuals within the DA that have got characters that make other members to be comfortable within the party, especially now that we are living in a democratic South Africa. And if you have a party like the DA that seem to be taking people back, then those that want to see South Africa moving forward would then not see the relevancy of the Democratic Alliance. Let us look at the message that Mmusi Maimane has always been preaching whilst he was in the DA. He always spoke about South Africa for all, equal opportunities for all the people. And if that is not what the DA stands for, then the DA stands for something in opposition of what Mmusi Maimane was saying, and that is why he was also forced to leave the party. And the same sentiments are being raised today by Moodey. And for me, all these aspects talks to the character of the Democratic Alliance, which has to be known by all people so that when they join the party, they actually know exactly what the party stands for. And unfortunately, we do not see that expression happening in the public space by the Democratic Alliance leaders.
I don't know if you may have seen the DA's reaction to the news. We had that spokesperson on the channel a short while ago who was basically saying that they are saddened to lose a leader of Moody's caliber, but they wish him well and they thank him for all the years that he had spent with the DA. Your take on that?
It should be a very sad moment indeed for the Democratic Alliance, as we've actually indicated earlier. The departure of Moodey from the Democratic Alliance speaks a lot of volumes. It speaks about the instability within the party. It also speaks about policy issues that the Democratic Alliance has to sit down, articulate them, and make them known to everybody. But if you have other leaders that have actually left the party, and now you've got John Moodey leaving the party, the indication is that there is a possibility of other people leaving the party. And at the same time, I think Moodey was the best person placed for the Democratic Alliance in Gauteng in order to challenge the ANC and the EFF. And it will require a lot of spade work on the part of the DA to replace Moodey and also to position themselves for the upcoming local government elections.
Yeah. So you talk about other leaders or other party members who may be leaving the party, and I think he made that comment during the media briefing to say that he knows of others within the party who share his sentiments, who feel exactly the same way he's feeling. But now, Levy, very quickly, the question is, when he was asked by the media on his next move, he said that he's been approached by the private sector and NGOs and so on. What are the possibilities of him joining Herman Mashaba's Action SA?
John Moodey is a politician. He has been in the DA for 22 years. I don't see him leaving politics entirely. I see John Moodey having a lot of options in his hands. He might join up with Herman Mashaba. He might join other political parties, or he might form his own organization. But the biggest possibility that I see is for Moodey going and join Herman Mashaba in order to prove to the DA that the DA has actually lost capable leaders that they should have used in ensuring that they build a stronger democratic alliance. And the departure of Moodey and other leaders from the Democratic Alliance weakens the Democratic Alliance, and it also weakens opposition parties in South Africa. And this is something that the Democratic Alliance, if they still want to be a capable opposition, should avoid doing, because they need to ensure that they maintain strong leaders within the party so that they become a very stronger force against other political parties in South Africa.
All right, Levy, we have to leave it at that. Ndorebuang Amanda Kosianga.
You're welcome.
All right, that's Levy Ndou. He is a political analyst. He's with the Tshwane University of Technology, helping us to understand the resignation of the Gauteng DA leader John Moodey. Moving